San Antonio's Sports Center.
Huge weekend, big game starts tomorrow. Texas A&M, 14th ranked in the nation. Well, they're going to hit the road to Starkville as they take on Mississippi State at 3:15. A game you can catch here on San Antonio Sports Star starting at 2. Then top-ranked Texas takes on 5th-ranked Georgia in Austin at 6:30. A game they'll be televised on ABC. While the Houston Texans, they're 5-1, heading to Green Bay to take on the 4-2 Packers.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That goal is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate y'all joining me, however y'all may be doing that, whether that is on 94.1 on your FM dial. If you're listening via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, where you can listen live, or if you're watching on YouTube like so many do. If you're not, you can. All of our shows stream live on the YouTube. All you got to do, pull out your app, pull it up on your phone. Whatever you're doing, just go to YouTube's, type in at SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show. Fred Records, Albert Lopez, already up in the bullpen, dropping comments. And, of course, if you want to be a part of the show, feel free to call in at 210-656-ESPN. That is 210-656-3776. Big weekend, especially for the Houston Texans. They have a very, very interesting game in Green Bay against the Packers. They've had 3 tests this year. This is the third of those tests so far. They've gone 1-1 in their tests. They lost on the road at Minnesota in embarrassing fashion. But at that time, although undefeated, nobody knew the Vikings were who the Vikings were until about now. And even then, everybody's still picking Detroit against them this week. So I do believe the Vikings are slept on how good of a team they truly are this year and what Sam Darnold is doing with that offense, with Kevin O'Connell, and what Brian Flores specifically is doing with that team. Frank Mateo wants to know what the weather is like for Green Bay on Sunday. Sunny and 74. So it's going to be beautiful weather up in Green Bay. So it's not your normal Green Bay December weather. We got nice October, very, very great weather for this game. And the Texans did get the win against Buffalo. It was 2 teams that you were waiting to see which one was kind of a pretender and which was a contender coming out of that one. And Buffalo still considered a contender. And they made the trade for Amari Cooper. So they have gotten the respect. Houston's still trying to earn it, but when you're new to the game, you have to earn that respect. This is a game where you can start to earn it, but by no means do I think this game is one where it's going to determine who they are, because they've got a stretch after this with the Jets and the Lions coming up. And then at the end of the season, they have another big stretch that includes the Chiefs and the Ravens, who are teams you're going to have to beat in the playoffs anyway if you're going to go anywhere. So that's kind of the real true litmus test for the Texans, going on the road to Kansas City and then playing Baltimore on a short week consecutively around Christmas. That's going to be the true test. But you would like to put some stuff on paper to especially get the good feels through the locker room, but it will be very difficult. The morning huddle this morning, AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson, they talked about the Texans and Packers coming up this week.
The Houston Texans back in action this weekend. They are at the Green Bay Packers. The question about the Texans is sitting at 5-1. That's fine and good. Are they for real? Are they getting? Is the hype getting ahead of the? Is the horse getting ahead of the cart? What do you think, Rob? Is this how good is this Texans team?
They're very good.
Okay, are they like Super Bowl contender good?
They could be.
Oof.
Why not? What exactly about them tells you they shouldn't be? There have been teams of equal merit that have made it that far.
No, that's true. Well, Patrick Mahomes tells me they should.
Well, no, I'm not saying they're going to get there, but if they did manage to get there, if they managed to jump and get past Kansas City for whatever reason, their defense, when healthy, is as good as anybody's. Only thing I look at that team that is a weakness is their offensive line, but they're able to get around that.
Yeah,
with a stellar offensive play and
especially when they've got a running game.
And running game is functioning. Mixon's in there, and if Collins gets back, which does matter, I mean,
No doubt.
But with everything functioning,
The Texans have been tested twice, I think, and beating the Bills at home is a good data point.
Yes.
You beat the Bills wherever it is, that's a good thing. Although it was a coin flip game, it's a close game. Their one road game test was at Minnesota, and they got lit up.
Yeah, that's
early.
Concerning. Well, it's early. You're a young team, and sometimes you get tagged in the nose and never quite recover. And they got tagged early and never got out of it.
And now they're at Green Bay. And I'll tell you this about Deshaun Watson. He's been very good as an underdog against the spread. Like most of the time last year, he was an underdog because the Texans were thought to be poor. And
You're talking about C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud. Everybody thought they were going to be poor, and he exceeded everybody's expectations.
It's a low-key good matchup, though.
I think so,
Stroud
too.
and Love. I
very
think
good.
Battle of the youngsters, or the possible heir apparents. I'm not sure how much of a test this is.
Really?
I think that both these teams are good. I think if you lose respectably, you carry on knowing you played a very good football team. All that Houston just needs to be, they need to weather the storm right now. Run the football, weather the storm, keep everybody upright, and get everybody healthy for a run that's coming. But they're already a playoff team.
Their division is so pathetic. So
this is one of those.
But that means this game matters a lot more to Green Bay than it does to the Texans because Green Bay, like all four NFC North teams are in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good division. This is probably the best division against the worst division.
Probably.
But much like the Texans, when the Packers have been tested, they've not done well. They lost to the Eagles in week 1, an Eagles team that has kind of been exposed as mediocre. And they also lost to the Vikings, although that was a very close game, but that was at home. Then I guess their best data point is probably a win at the Rams. But again, that's a very diminished Rams team. I don't know what to think of either of these teams.
They had a couple of games without their quarterback. I mean, they had to tread water without Love.
Yeah.
So I think,
and they did a good job of it.
Yeah. So I think that they're. I don't think they're as talented as the Texans as far as players and positions. They're deeper. I think they've got everything across the board. I like their defense from top to bottom far more than the Texans. The Texans got a pretty good defense.
The Texans have Will Anderson,
which matters.
But remember, the Texans also have injuries in the secondary.
That's what
Lassiter's hurt, like Ward's hurt. They're beat up in the secondary, and that's been a strength for them.
Yeah. So once the Texans are, let's get healthy and get ready and stack the wins as much as we can, knowing a loss ain't going to kill us.
And he's right. And not just the secondary, it's the linebacking. There's Christian Harris has still not come off the injured reserve, starting linebacker from last year. The other two starting linebackers this year, Henry To'oTo'o, concussion, not going to play. Also, Aziz Al-Shaair, questionable, haven't practiced this week. So we don't know how fully functioning this Texans team can be, but you have CJ Stroud, you have Tank Dell, you have Stephon Diggs, and most importantly, you have Joe Mixon. And Joe Mixon can help you control the pace of the game and limit how much your defense is on the field. That could be the difference in the game if the Texans are going to escape with a win from Green Bay. This is Extra Innings with Pledge. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Another big game coming up tomorrow. The Blitz was talking about it. We'll bring it to you next right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
So, Gigi, you think a woman's place is in the home cooking?
100%. We were not created. We were not born to do the same things.
Do you think that these are conversations that should be had before people get married?
It's such a hard conversation to have in the strip bar, though.
So loud in there.
The John Clay Wolf Show.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire, or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-299-1058. 800-299-1058. Again, that's 800-299-1058. Coverage deductibles and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text. Text BOUNCE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text DOUNCE to 42424. That's BOUNCE to 42424.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Play stop, opt out. The FDA has not approved or substantiated these claims. games.
Mark, you're late again. Sorry, I just don't have the energy I did a few years ago. Could be low testosterone? Low T? It happens, especially after 40. I was feeling the same way, so I started taking clomiphene from Zelfie. It helps boost testosterone and made a huge difference for me. I thought testosterone replacement therapies had risks. This isn't testosterone replacement therapy. There's no injections. It's a simple daily pill that boosts your body's natural production of testosterone. This helps you? And clomiphene can double your testosterone levels. I'm building lean muscle and cutting down weight. I'm also sleeping better, plus other benefits in the bedroom. It's easy to try. Plus, send them a text right now and get 40% off.
Text STEPS to 200-300 to find out if you qualify for enclomiphene from Zelfie. It can double your testosterone levels, so don't wait. Text STEPS to 200-300 right now and get 40% off. It's 100% online and ships directly to your door. Text STEPS to 200-300. That's STEPS to 200-300.
Football season is here, and I-10 Ice House has your favorite matchup on massive 10-foot screens and daily happy hour specials that'll keep your spirits high and your wallet happy. The best seats are at I-10 Ice House on 9518 Console Drive.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate y'all riding along with me. We're taking you up to 6:30. We're pregame for Piper and New Braunfels. Our San Antonio Sports Star High School football game of the week gets going. Jason Minix, Nick Solis, and John Robbins will bring you all the action from out at Warrior Coliseum at Piper High School. It is brought to you by Hill Electric, Frostbank, and NCE General Contractors. Speaking of which, they also did the Blitz from out there earlier today, and they were talking about one of the biggest games of the week. That would be Texas and Georgia.
All eyes, though, on Austin, Texas. And I just saw on Twitter Nick Saban and Sark taking a picture together. Of course, with game day in town, Sark gets to hang out with old Nick Saban. And you think about this matchup, Texas and Georgia. And I'm pumped to go. In fact, I'm going with an Aggie that's going to a second Longhorn game this year.
An Aggie?
An Aggie.
Really?
A through and through Aggie, spending more money watching the Longhorns play this year than A&M. But that's just how big this game is.
Why would an Aggie be going to Austin? He's probably going to melt as soon as he walks through that stadium.
No, he's not going to melt.
Well,
I mean, look, it happens. I mean, I don't want to say that he knows.
He's scouting.
He's scouting.
Yeah.
He's just seeing what it's like to be, on that side. And granted, I mean, same dude went to watch Texas and Michigan play. I mean, this guy has spent a fortune this year to watch the Longhorns.
Sounds like a closet Longhorn fan.
It really does.
Right?
It really does. He can go up to Austin, not get a rash. I mean, it's amazing how that works.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody's having a change of allegiance.
Well, and he calls me the other day and was like, "Hey, I'm going with a group of guys. Somebody dropped out. Do you want to go?" Well, hell yeah. And then I said, let me ask the wife. But hell yeah, I'm going. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, it's going to be great. I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be fantastic. A lot going on in Austin this week. We got that, and you got the race that's going on there too. So it's going to be a zoo in Austin, but a fun one.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, with game day going on, everything that is in play for this weekend, the big question. Does Texas prove it on the field? I mean, this is a matchup, and I don't think anybody is surprised that the number one team in the country is playing in this game. Although when the schedule came out, we all thought that number one team would be the Georgia Bulldogs.
Absolutely. There's no question. Everybody thought it could very well be a 1-2 matchup at that time with Texas being number two. Georgia's got a lot to prove as far as I'm concerned, though. They can put points on the board. I don't think there's any question about that. They've got a good quarterback, but I'm not sure that their defense is going to be able to handle Texas. I really don't. And I could see this being a high-scoring game although Texas's defense is pretty good. Georgia's going to have to do something special, I think. They're going to have to play a perfect game if they want to come in Austin and beat Texas. I believe that because, again, I think Texas right now, as we sit, is the best team in college football.
Well, and again, I think, and obviously I don't disagree with that, but the healthy respect or fear, whatever you want to call it, for the Georgia Bulldogs, because that's still Georgia, and man, do they have something to prove. I mean, this is one of those games where you know damn well Kirby Smart is going to have his guys in that mindset that you're the underdogs. And it's been a long time since they've literally been the underdogs. And as long as they don't drive to the game themselves, I think they'll be in pretty good shape to be competitive. But this is a prove-it game for them. Not Alabama, not some of their traditional rivals. Texas, their first year in the SEC, they knew when the schedule maker said, all right, this is that game. Georgia knew what the league was putting them up against. And so I think they'll have that kind of mentality coming in. Texas, I think, also has to play a damn near perfect game. Quinn Ewers cannot play like he did last week in the first half against Oklahoma, especially the first quarter, and lead Texas to a victory. And I'm curious, and we've talked about this a couple of different times with Bob Ballou, you know, with seeing that picture with Nick Saban and Sark. You know, Saban changed out a quarterback in a national championship game. You wonder, last week you felt like Texas is so much better than Oklahoma, you could give Quinn a longer leash. Will that leash be a little bit shorter this week against the Georgia Bulldogs?
It's a possibility. And you got to look at this other thing. I think that can Georgia with 2 losses still make the playoffs?
Yeah.
They can. But it's certainly not going to be easy to do that because their schedule doesn't get any easier moving forward. So I would expect a desperate Georgia team coming into Austin because they certainly don't want to have that second loss hanging on them, and it makes things that much tougher. Sure, they can still make the playoffs with 2 losses, but
you look at. With the 12 teams, how many SEC teams are going to make the playoffs?
10.
Half of that. And so I think last week you had a true playoff elimination game with LSU and Ole Miss. And Ole Miss lost that game. I think they're essentially done. Georgia, excuse me, because of their ranking, they'll stay in it. Because a loss to Texas, Georgia's still going to be in the top 10. If Georgia beats Texas, Texas probably drops to 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to drop further than that. Maybe 4.
And he's right. They're not going to drop much further. But Georgia, I have concerns if they get a second loss, if they can survive and still make the 12-team playoff just because of the amount of unbeatens in the Big Ten currently right now. And look at the other side. I mean, Tennessee and Alabama, one of them's going to have 2 losses as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Alexandra from earlier said our Texans own line needs to step up and be ready. No dumb false starts. No argument here. We're going to have no false starts because we're getting you out for our high school game of the week out at Warrior Coliseum at the site of Piper High School. Jason Minix, Nick Solis bringing you all the action of our game of the week coming up next right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports
Hey everybody,
Star.
it's Joe Reinagel, and you know I only roll with the best. When it's game time, there's only one place to be. That's the I-10 Ice House. For over 10 years, they've been serving up the